council meeting of the village of Armada will now come to order. Will everyone rise for a pledge of allegiance to the flag? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you kindly. Clerk, call roll, please.
Shaw.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Bullock.
Here.
Ballard.
Here.
Slutz.
Here.
Belkey.
Here.
Conan is absent.
This is all for him.
Yeah. Bring it back.
Next is the approval of the agenda. What is the council's wishes, please?
Mr. President, I'll move the agenda be accepted as presented.
Support.
Moved by Ballard, supported by Shaw. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Floor is now open up to citizen comments. State your name for the record, and you have 3 minutes to comment to the council. Yes, Steve, go ahead.
Steve Nickel, 22757 Barrows. I'm just here for a couple of things. I asked before whether or not we could have a separate water meter for lawn sprinklers, and I've never had a response yet as to whether there's something in our ordinances that says you can or you can't. And it coincides with, can we put a private well in to water our grass in the village? I've never heard anything. Ross was working on that, but I never heard
I
back.
think I dropped the ball on that. We got talking about it. In fact, I got a note in my minutes about it, but I haven't done much lately on it, so apologize for that. Again, I haven't found anything in the minutes. We're talking to a couple additional people about it at the county level. Right now, I've not found anything.
Well, if there's no ordinance against it, the same thing with a meter to meter your lawn sprinkler water. Do we have an ordinance against that?
Well, if you're pulling it out of a well and you're not connecting it to the distribution system, no meter is required.
Okay, but I'm saying if I don't want to put a well in and I want to use the village water, but I don't want to pay the sewage, if we can meter the water separately for the lawn sprinkler, do we have an ordinance that precludes that?
Oh, no, then maybe I've misunderstood all this time.
No, I'm asking 2 questions.
Okay,
One is if you can put a well in.
yep.
Okay, and the second is, I don't know whether I want to do the cost of a well. Maybe I would do a water meter,
Right.
Because then I don't have to go through all that. But
Right.
I need some kind of direction. If we don't have an ordinance against it,
Right, I think you're gonna find that if you're using water, you're gonna pay a sewage fee. If you're using water, metered water, you're gonna pay a sewage fee. If you're digging a well and it's not connected, right now I've found nothing that prohibits that.
okay. But we do have something in our water thing that says.
Ordinance that, yes.
That says you can't have a separate
Yeah,
meter.
let me pull it and I will get you that verbiage.
Well, then I guess I would ask my next question is there a reason why the council wouldn't think about that? I mean, for people to be able to maintain their landscape, but to have to pay a sewage fee, if you put a separate meter, that you can then deduct that.
Right. In general, the general answer is the cost of the entire system is borne by the residents. There's no other money that comes into that system. So if we got a lot of people opting out of that, it then becomes prohibitively expensive to try to maintain the water distribution system for everybody, right?
And
Okay, but
substantially
you get-
underfunded.
You've got 2 things. You've got a sewage fee and you've got a water fee.
Yep.
If I'm still paying all the water, how are you losing any money?
The sewer system, it's a combined system. When you get a water bill, it's really a water sewer bill. And the sewer component of it, in many parts of it, is connected to the units of water that you use. And that helps keep the sewer treatment plant operating.
Okay, but it still doesn't make sense to me unless the computation for the sewage is so convoluted that you can't just take it out of what if your water is 100 gallons,
You can.
and you're paying 100
take it
gallons
out,
of sewage,
No, I
but
don't
the ordinance
think you
does not
could.
allow you to take it out.
You have more than just
Because
the ordinance, you also have the
the
PUDs
sewer
that exist.
reflects
with
the
us.
usage of the
We
water.
can't do that.
We've got
It's
two
against the-
bonds. We've got a sewer
I
bond
brought
and
it
a
up. That's
DWRF
planning.
bond that are both calculated off of those meter readings from the water.
right?
You take those away, you're not gonna be able to fund your payments to
Okay,
the
but
sewer
I'm not-
bond.
That's what I'm saying, I'm not taking it away. I'm still paying for
The
all,
water,
for all the water.
For the water.
but you're
But
not
the water's
paying,
not going through the sewage treatment, right?
but you're not getting the point. The calculations for funding that bond, the sewer bond,
Okay,
is based off of the usage of the water,
Okay.
because that's how you're billed. So
Okay.
now you take those portions that aren't you paying sewer bill portion of it, you're not funding your bond.
Right.
you're not using the sewage.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's how it's
All
funded.
right.
That's not how.
Okay.
The bill is not, you're right, exactly.
Okay.
It's the water that doesn't even go to the sewer, you're paying for it.
Right, okay, doesn't make a lot of sense, but
And then
That's the way it is, that's
also,
the
Well,
it is.
Steve, it does if you've got a funded system and you've got to maintain it, right? I mean, so the village for a long time has had these two connected, and so
Okay.
if you're, and as Joe has indicated, the charges for sewer are based upon water use.
the readings from the water.
Yes.
I understand
And
that.
so that's kind of the conundrum you wind up with is, right now, I'm not finding anything that prohibits you from digging a well
Okay.
to water your flowers, your landscape, whatever. But we do not have a stipulation in the Code of Ordinances for the water system that allows you to opt out of paying sewer.
Okay. And then my other question is, I'm just wondering if there's been any discussion, or are we moving forward on anything with improving the roads over on our side of town? I just wondered where the village is at on that. It's been 2 years since I last asked the question, I think.
Well, I think you asked a question. We did send you something back. In fact, your daughter also asked a question. I sent something back to her. I'm going to let the street commissioner talk a little bit about that, but I would, as a standpoint of the water commissioner, we really have to look at water, sewer, streets as a combined package. You're not going to tear up a road and not do the water lines underneath that are 90 years old, say, or bad sewer
Right.
lines. You're going to fix it all.
Right.
And as I explained in that, we at least know where we need to put our time and attention as to priorities of.
Okay, then
fixes.
Ross, that's my question. If the village knows what the priorities are,
Yeah.
how are we addressing the priorities?
Well, I said in my letter, we did a capital improvement study, capital improvement plan study, and it indicated that we have no easy funding sources for the next couple of years. We get out from underneath a couple of our bonds, 2024, and that
First one.
that gives us our best opportunity now to come in as a group of infrastructure commissioners and start to do meaningful improvements. From a water perspective, that area over where you live is one of my #1 priorities. I can't really speak for these guys, so Chris?
Yeah, you hit it right on, it's 2024, it's a multi-million-dollar project.
Yeah.
And that's the first time it comes in, and what we'll do is we'll pull the road out, we'll replace it with gravel until the water and sewer are done, and then we'll come by with the formal road. Any chance we can get in the time in between, I'm looking for sources of government money. In road, streets makes it very tough because they are very specific on the types of roads and local versus major, and that get to be challenging to find sources.
Yeah.
I did make an application for this year for some. We were not one of the 33 communities selected for a local, but it's just with our engineering firm, every chance we can get, I try putting something in front of the county and the state to get,
Okay.
I'm assuming is the louder you get, the bigger stick you can carry, the more attention you'll get, but we'll see how it goes. But that's kind of our general plan. So.
It's personally frustrating, but I would tell you that at least now, today, we have a much better idea than we did a couple years ago of where we need to apply our time and attention. Now what we're looking for is when do we do it, and having the money available in 2024 seems to be the best opportunity. Hopefully interest rates stay low and we do a large infrastructure project and knock out Simons, Burroughs, Teets, perhaps, and other streets, do water lines, sewer lines, and the road surfaces. So 2024. So, wish I had a better answer for you.
We also have Torrey and Lathrop down here, like these small side streets too. So they're in very terrible shape.
Yeah.
And so the thing is that that's also been talked about religiously.
Well, Church and Burke as a whole too, I mean, the whole lengths of those runs.
Yes.
You know,
Which
that's
street did
another-
you say?
Lathrop,
Oh, yeah, I heard that. What was the last street you said?
Torrey.
Torrey,
Torrey, okay.
Yeah, Torrey also has
Congregational
partially
Church
been
there?
major as well.
that's the one block section there too.
Yeah.
So then of course we got Burke Street up here,
First
Uh,
Street,
And
North
First
of-
was one of the ones
north
that
of the
they did
bridge
too,
there, you
the
know.
application
so that has been terrible. So like you said, that we're trying, it's been named, and we're going to get the money as soon as we can, or we'll keep begging. Hope we don't get turned down. These grants, they're not passing, a small town sometimes.
I'm just asking, just so we have an idea
Oh.
that we still got our eye on the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be happy to come and walk you through the capital improvement plan, if
Well,
you want.
you said you can't do anything till 2024, so.
Yeah, but at least you'll see Burroughs and Simons up there, number 1, number 2, number 3.
That'd be great.
They're high on the list. Trust
two
me.
on a year.
Okay,
So-
thanks.
I don't like driving down the streets myself, and I drive down quite frequently, because I want to see the whole neighborhood, the whole village. And being as though I've been here 82 years, I want to continue. So, like I said, it's very detrimental to us that we try to do it as soon as possible. We can assure you that, Steve.
Thanks.
Oh, and then don't forget too, we started our savings and investment accounts too to help. So that's, we got, we get some pretty good chunks going there.
All right, any other questions of citizens?
No more citizens.
No more citizens. There's no presentations tonight, council, and then the administrative reports, commissioner liaison reports, September code enforcement report in your packet, and then commissioner reports to council, that'll be by Bilky. Any council members?
Yes, Mr. President, I have Doug from the sewer plant here. He's got a little show and tell to show council one of the pieces that are going in the new SBR tanks.
Yes, good evening. Before I show you that, I just want to give you a brief synopsis on where we're at today. As everybody remembers, the last council meeting was October 25th. That was the night we really got pelted with rain. The plant made it through swimmingly well, no pun intended. The total flow that came through there exceeded the plant's capacity at 3 SBR units. We were operating on 2 of them. So far, to our knowledge, we had no permit violations because of that. We did some work with the timers and such on the plant so that we did not have any sanitary sewer overflows. We had nothing. So everything came out very well. Next on the list tomorrow, Tuesday, we're going to start. The contractors, by and large, are done with the construction and everything. The quagmire, you see that the wastewater plant, the land, they're going to start cleaning it up. They're going to be taking out all the old parts, trying to, as best they can for right now, to clean up the site, get the level as best they can. They're going to put down probably straw and such for the winter. They're going to get it as level as best they can. Next spring when they come back out, they're going to finish leveling and seeding, and the plant's going to look professional again. They're also supposed to be pulling out the construction trailers sometime this week. They've already, the general contractor's trailer has been, the electricity has been taken out of it, It's just waiting because we have so much mud down there. On the 29th of this month, we have Aqua Aerobic coming in. They did all the computer PLC work. They're going to be coming in doing their fine tuning. The existing company that was in their UIS is going to have a person on site also, so that all the tying in, all the systems are talking to each other the way they're supposed to be and operating. We've had what we call nuisance alarms. When the Aqua people come in, they're going to reset everything the way it's supposed to be, and the system will run fine. And lastly, the plant startup. The big day we're waiting for. We're going to have all 3 of the units start up. Contractors, all the contractors are going to be on site. They're going to run it through its paces, make sure each and every unit work the way they're supposed to in the sequences they're supposed to be doing. So the end is in sight. And as Steve alluded to, this is one of the key components in our plant. It's called diffusers. These are mounted in the bottom of each tank. You see a row of PVC piping with these on it. If you look here, it's where air comes up. It comes up through the diffuser. If the plant does not have air in it, the bugs can't live. The bugs that eat up the dissolved, provide dissolved oxygen, eating the bugs up that are harmful, mostly phosphorus and ammonia. These went in, they finished putting these in today. I just thought I'd show the council part of the hard-earned money that's going into it. The key component went in today, the last of them. All the blowers, everything is piped in now. So, as I said, hopefully by the end of the year, construction will be a distant memory.
But when that is operating, it bubbles, there's not a dead spot in that tank. It's always got something moving, plus there's 3 mixers in there also moving stuff. So.
And the mixers, as I stated before, they're on variable frequency. They're not all the way on, they're not all the way off. There's a probe in there. Dissolved oxygen is the key, as I said. When it hits a certain point, the motors start ramping down, and then they try to maintain a constant dissolved oxygen. So these save money. And newest technology, it's the best thing I've seen in 45 years of working in water and wastewater. So the village got its bang for the buck. And that being said, that's all my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you very kindly.
Everybody have a good evening.
You have a safe trip home too, sir.
I will.
Yeah, that's the only way you're gonna see those, because once those tanks have what you flush down you're not gonna see those anymore.
You're not gonna recognize them anyway.
Don't want to see them.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yes.
I'll go after Lyle, then Ross can go, because you got all of them. Mine's a
Mr.
short
President, I do
version.
have the police report for October. There was 120 traffic stops, resulting in tickets. Traffic arrests, there was 2, one on a suspended license and 1 OWI. There was 15 EMS assist other agencies, there was 3. There was 1 suspicious call, 1 civil dispute. Dog and animal complaints, there was 2. Disturbance, there was 1. Domestic, there was 1, resulting in an arrest. Miscellaneous calls for service, there was 14. Lost and found property, 2. Theft, 1, and fraud, 1. Patrol miles was 2,888 as of November 5th, 2021. Miles on the patrol cars, patrol car number 431 was 66,287 miles, and 432 was 73,230 miles. The reason I'm including that is so that we know where the mileage is on our 2 patrol cars, so that we can more readily trade them in, get more bang for our buck, and bring in new cars. And also,
We have 1 new order now.
yes, we have a new pickup ordered right now, and that'll be coming in. We're looking at that probably in December, I think. And the reason that it's been delayed is because of the chip shortage. And they just aren't producing the, what do they call that, pursuit model trucks right now. And also, we've had our speed controller devices that we've had, like the old one you see out there, that has been ordered. Both styles, the sign style and the trailer style have been ordered early in the month of 10/21 of, October 2021. And they should be here within a little bit. Chief Patrick has also said that the one that's out there, the reason you haven't seen it running that much is because the batteries in there have gone dead, and he's just gonna take it over and have some new batteries put in. I said, well, let's get it done so we can, start using that piece of equipment too. Okay, that's all I have, Mr. President. Well,
Thanks,
that's
Mr.
all
Bradley.
I have. Good.
Thank you. Mr. Flett?
Yes, following up on what we were just talking about with Mr. Nichols here, I did get, with the help of Roe, Doug Skiles was very good at keeping me informed, and anytime he hears something from the state of the county that comes up that may be of interest, the county did put out for their 2023 to 2026 plan, looking for any major street projects. So I actually put in 3 applications. One was to finish West Main, and then we have Torrey from Fulton to Church, and then Church from Main Street to Torrey on the list. So they put together a rebuild quote for me for us to, and the applications, and turn them in. We took a year, we went for 24, 25, 26 with our submissions. Doug also thought that because of the frequency of Act 51 projects that we've had, that they're less likely to give us back-to-back-to-back type. So put a year or so in between, but I'll keep on them every few months or so with, hey, how are we doing, what's going on? So that came out well. I do have our 4 bridge inspection reports. We do have some remedial action to take. It's mostly aesthetic based. There's some broken concrete and some things like that, but I will go through these with DPW and Roe to see for any costs, and then these will go to file. So we are fully, so all 4 have all the necessary inspections as well as the calculations. A couple years ago they added a new criterion of low ratings for the bridges. Only 2 of 4 had them, so they did that was what the extra money was for this year when we did that budget back in the March timeframe, was to get the calculations and the inspections. So
Is that gonna be taken care of this year yet, or?
the remedial now will be in the spring.
In the spring.
Yeah. While man, we talked about the truck a little bit, so that's as it funnels into the partially running truck we've got sitting. Although I don't know if it got moved back out of Larry's yet or not, towed back out. But our pickup is really on its last legs. We talked about moving the police pickup over to the DPW when they get their new one. Right now that we're not missing any essential services, so we can make do without that until the time comes, but then I'll be looking into is how to dispose of that vehicle. Will be another discussion point. So.
Okay, very good. That's it then. Ross, did you have something more?
Yeah, I've got some items. I guess before I jump into it, I'm encouraged by the passage on Friday of the Infrastructure Act. We don't know what that means to us yet, I don't think, in any stretch, but at the end of it, we're hoping we get funding, maybe in advance of 2024, to do some things. We sorely need it, and again, the good news is that I think we know what we need to do now at this point. It's just having the money to do it. Speaking of money, I wish Dave was here because he asked this question. He asked what the status of receipt of the coronavirus local fiscal recovery fund monies were, and sure enough, he goes off on vacation, and last Friday, I think it was, we got $89,753.50, which is 1/2 of our allocation of the CLFRF monies. We expect to get the other half, and I did talk to the Department of Treasury. They said 1 year, so it's going to be probably October of 2022 before we get that final second chunk of money. And of course, council at the last meeting voted to take all of those monies and put it into the arsenic detention project. So I've already started talking with Roe about that to restart and planning to get bid sheet together for vendors probably in the January timeframe, get those out so that we can get started sometime early next year, hopefully get at the front of the queue. We had a meeting regarding the G2 media that's going to go into the water treatment plant. Everybody's familiar with replacing the media within 2 of the vessels. So I had a meeting with McIntyre Soft Water, who's doing that work. They're getting the media and they're doing the exchange. I had Doug Scott from Roe. I had F&V participating, the DPW participating. I was there. It was a great meeting, and really it was an attempt to find out what's the status of production, when's it going to get delivered, are we going to do it in December, what are the logistic issues that we have to be concerned about. Long story short, great meeting, but it's probably not going to happen until February now. But that gives us an opportunity, and let me take a step back. Probably not going to happen until February, but I think we will need the time to get prepared for it. There's some things that McIntyre needs to do in preparation. There's a few things that we need to do to be prepared for it. One of the things is exercising valves at the plant and that kind of stuff, which we're already doing. We had a stuck valve, for example, which would have been critical. We've gotten that freed up, and we're working on a maintenance program so that we exercise the valves all the time, right? Pretty critical stuff. We didn't want to get there and find out there was a problem. In any case, part of the discussion then led to if we're going to pull the media out of vessels 3 and 4, that may be the best time we have to inspect these vessels. They're 15 years old. There is some surface rust on them. Part of that's because there's high humidity in the plants during the spring, summer, fall months. We're looking into getting a dehumidifier, but I really want to get probably Dillon, who's the company that inspects our elevated water tank over here, the water tower, have them come and look at the inside of the tank. I want to make sure that the inside of the tank is of tank number 4, which is probably the one that gets the hardest use, is in good shape, and get some kind of a seal of approval that we're good for the next 15 years or 30 years or whatever it's going to be. So we're looking into that. I'm going to have a call with Dillon, Tom Rounds of Dillon on Wednesday to find out, okay, what's that going to cost us to do, have an inspection, engineering inspection, make sure all of our vessels by extrapolation are in good shape. More about that in upcoming meetings. We did send out thank you letters and notices of what the sampling reports were to the participants of the village-led copper water sampling effort. Just a heads up that I'm probably going to come to council, the next council, with a resolution of support for Heart and Soul. One of the reasons why I want to get a resolution of support is because that may help us defray any costs for the village in this. It appears that if this is done, community-wide, village and township, that Fort County and the Orton Family Fund will fund the entire thing. A resolution of support for the activity would certainly help maybe convince the people that making those decisions to fund it all. I'm going to do that with the township as well.
What was
Again,
the
just-
initiative, Russ?
Pardon?
What was the initiative again?
It's the Heart and Soul Initiative is a community visioning, community visioning initiative. Kathy Dinkins from Fort County was here and talked about that a little bit, just to give everybody a heads up. It really talks to everybody in the community. Frankenmuth is going through it now. There's a municipality in Ohio. This is fairly new, but Frankenmuth's been involved in it. The municipality in Ohio has completed it. It really provides a community plan into the future. It doesn't necessarily substitute for a master plan, but our master plan is 12 years old now. And so having this may help us with the master plan, or it may even transcend the master plan. But it's a community-wide initiative in it, and they talk to everybody. Businesses, residents, municipal leaders, social organizations, visitors. It's actually, when you get into it, it's pretty exciting. Just a reminder that we still have 24 trees that Mike, who's graciously agreed to come help me, Mike and I are gonna go pick up at some point. We can either plant them or we gotta winter them. But I need to get them out of American Tree up in Almont sometime soon before the weather really starts to go south. So, Chris and Joe, if you guys got ideas, I'd be open to it, but if nothing else, I'm gonna get them. And we'll, we got mountains of wood chips, and so we can stick them in wood chips behind the DPW barn and let them winter if that's what we want to do until we decide where they want to, we want to put them. And last but not least, we talked about purchasing scales for the water department. Scales are fairly important. They got to be roll-on scales because we're physically rolling on 232 pound, 250 pound barrels of chlorine onto these things. We weigh them, and that's how we appropriately meter chlorine into the water treatment system. We've got 4 scales, 1 in the water treatment plant, 3 in the well houses. 2 of them are broken. So Wally, our operator in charge, is trying to gauge usage by putting tape and watching the drop in the level of liquid. It's not a very sophisticated way to do business, and Eagle's not happy about that. So in any case, we've got bids from Prime USA Scales, who was the low bidder, Great Lakes Scales, and R&W Scales. I went back and looked at the bids, because I'm not looking for the low-cost guy. I don't want to get something from California that's come from China, and actually China builds good stuff now in some cases. It's not supportable. Determined that the best value, we've got a local guy that can support these. He's bending over backwards to do some stuff for us. I chose Great Lakes Scales, a bid of $9,022, I believe, $9,077. It's about $2,500 more than Great Lakes Scales, but he's a local guy, and he'll be able to come out and calibrate and fix problems, and it's got a good warranty. So that's who I've chosen, and 2 of them are available now. He'll come out and install. He'll come back when the other 2 come in about 4 weeks and install those and calibrate them at no additional cost in 4 to 6 weeks. And so we'll get the 2 that don't work fixed, and then we'll get the other 2 exchanged in a month or so. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay. Excuse me. Next will be the consent agenda. Approval of the regular council meeting minutes of October the 25th. Payment of bills. Special event permit for the Armada Lions Club, which is the Goodfellow Papers and their Christmas tree setup. And village office closed on November 24th.
Oh, hang on. Does anybody got a calendar?
Yes, I do.
Date before Thanksgiving.
Yep, Wednesday.
24th.
The 24th.
Wednesday, yeah.
Okay.
25th is Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Excuse me.
Mr. President, I'll move the consent agenda to be accepted as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported by Ballard and Belkey. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Old business sewer plan update, Mr. Clark.
I really don't have
Anything
any
further?
more to add that Stuart couldn't already tell you. I'm really looking forward to having those guys wrap things up down there and having everything run the way it should. So, like Doug said, though, there will be finished work to do come this spring and finish off all the rest of the lawn and all the contours around the plant. So, but other than that, I'm all set.
Good, very good, thank you, Mr. Clark. New business, accept a bid for sidewalk replacement due to tornado damage. Mr. Sled, your department, please.
Yes, well, as I mentioned at the last council meeting, and that apparently is the number of businesses I tried to get a response was high. I was trying to work about a 13-mile radius around Armada. Got a hold of 7 companies to get 2 responses. We thought we were going to get a third good one in, but unfortunately that a local individual got stood up twice, and DPW got stood up twice, so we've let it go at that. And as we expected, the one, D&E was really the first and only real bidder for the program, and that's to finish the remaining sidewalk repairs. They're maintaining the same, construction method and the same price per square foot. So, like we've done before, it's that what we believe is I'll call more of a not to exceed limit. It includes a bunch of areas that may not necessarily be done, but won't know for sure until until they tear them up. So, so we did get. The flags are identified by, between the police chief, fire chief, and then marked by the DPW supervisor. We also, with the additional tree work, there had been some other areas that showed up that were added to the list, and anyone that wanted to bid on was actually escorted around town so they could physically see every one of the flags and then prepare the quote. And like I said, D&E was the only one that actually provided a formal quote. I'll do that if I'll do the motion then. With a motion to accept the bid from D&E Landscaping and Grading Inc., in the amount not to exceed $24,470.
Support.
Reading.
Moved and supported, any further discussion? Now, will this be done this year yet, correct?
It certainly can be, yes, absolutely. So.
All right, any further comments? If not, roll call, please.
Suds,
Yes.
Baylor,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Wallach,
Yes,
Belkey.
Yes.
motion carried.
And then Becky's got the bills, because I'll be submitting then she's got it now, the invoice for the restoration work, the rest of the restoration work. So those sidewalk areas that have been replaced that still have the roots and piles next, that's the next thing to be cleaned up with it. I've got that invoice, and I gave that to Becky Friday.
Okay, thank you. Up and coming agenda items, any?
We got the single waste hauler, they're still working on that. They're still, I think their township's lawyers looking at the verbiage after all the contracts go out.
And then Jeff has already taken a look at it too. He
Oh,
sent me
yeah.
back an opinion like this afternoon,
He did.
so I'll get you copies of that. I sent them over to the township, to Jim already.
Do they have
Seven.
like a possible tentative date to start too, or be like fiscal year be in or
It'll all
what?
depend on when they can get the public hearing in.
Yeah, you gotta have a public
The
hearing.
public hearing is gonna be at the township?
They'll have one and we'll have
We'll
one
have
as
to-
well.
We'll have to have one too.
We'll have one too,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
So both public hearings have to get done and conducted, and they've got to get RFPs done and get the bids out and get them back.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So probably not till next year.
It's not gonna be.
Oh,
probably not, they're actually even looking at extending the,
Transfer,
what's the
transfer site?
yeah, that's right.
transfer site?
Yeah.
To maybe a month to month, because that ends in February, the contract's up. So they're gonna try and request a month to month.
Is that with priority weeks also?
That's who's got the contract now, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Very good, thank you. At this time, the citizen comment section is open again. Name for the record and.
Hi, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Mark Losey. I'm a board member of the Greater Romeo Chamber of Commerce. And I had one of my peers, I think Joe Warden, has sat in on a council session before. So as a part of our trying to get together and find out what you're doing and share what we're doing, the board is kind of taking rotations to kind of sit in and talk, answer questions if you may have any. And I just want to kind of a couple other things. I'm also a board member of the Northern Macomb Foundation. And that's a foundation that kind of helps support the high schools and scholarships right now. And we're looking to kind of leverage some like return to work initiatives, retraining programs in the upcoming thing. And then the last thing, I was appointed by the governor to be on the board of the Michigan Trail Advisory Council. And so I offer that up to you, because in that position, I have access to a couple things. One is the non-motorized trail that's right in your backyard. If you have concerns, comments, questions, I'd be more than happy to take that to the council to help in any way, get money, signage, repaving, extensions, whatever you guys would like, or I have a proposal for. I do get emails from Gretchen about legislation that has passed and upcoming stuff. One that came today that I'll offer to council is anybody that's operating a state licensed daycare facility in their house, or as long as it's state licensed, eligible employees are eligible for a $1,000 bonus through the government, through the state of Michigan. So if you know people that have or operate, that's out there for them to get a $1,000 bonus. That just came out from Gretchen today. So with that, I've got a couple things that are happening in Romeo. If you don't mind, we kind of have, and you probably do as well, that, small business weekends coming up, right? Support our small businesses the best we can, and to whatever you're going to do for that. I can take that back to our meeting, because we're having it next week, Thursday, November 18th. We're having an open board meeting for the Greater Romeo Chamber of Commerce. It'll be held at the Little River Church on 230, the address is 230 St. Clair Street. So basically right across from the Four Corners Diner, if you've been there. It's right across the street, next to Ace Hardware. But that's an open forum meeting. We're gonna have officer elections, conversations about our upcoming calendar and the like. And then the last thing I'd like to invite everybody to is we're having a ladies' night on Friday, November 12th, to kind of do some shopping, walk around downtown, have a coffee, wine or whatever. So, but that's me, and if any questions, comments, concerns?
Or a way to
I was
get
gonna
a
say,
hold
can
of
you
it?
Sure,
sign- can you
sure, I'll sign that, and
Yeah.
and
Yes.
one last thing, my day job is I work for DT Energy
Oh,
as well. So I've already talked to my peers, and they said things are going well here. So
they were amazing.
Yeah.
Nothing but.
so if you got any comments, concerns there, I know the right people to talk to in the area too. So
No, we're very happy the way
Yeah.
you guys handled things.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Hopefully
grateful.
you're all on diets now.
I heard you fed them well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else for the comments?
Just, Mark,
Council comments?
stick around for a minute.
Council comment, please.
The fence is complete as far as I know. I talked to Dave today over at the park.
Oh, the park fence?
Yeah.
Okay.
And community events, any? None. We don't have a closed session tonight, and I'm going to entertain a motion for adjournment, please.
The time is 7:50. Mr. President, I move to adjourn.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, meeting adjourned.